Once again, we are returning to Guild Wars 2-minute lore. This time we're going to take a look at the Nightmare Court. Hopefully this will be everything you need to know in around 2 minutes. Or at least I'll try my best to keep it around 2 minutes. Let's see if I can do it. The Nightmare Court are the villain faction in the Sylvari storyline. They can sort of be thought of as the complete opposite to Sylvari society. While the Sylvari follow the teachings of Vantari, the Nightmare Court reject them and oppose the teachings of Vantari. They try to expose other Sylvari to the nightmare that is present within the Dream of Dreams, so that way all the Sylvari race can be one with the nightmare. I've always thought of the nightmare and the dream being sort of like yin-yang. You have the peaceful harmony of the dream, but then you also have the dark, sinister nightmare to balance things out. The Nightmare Court don't view themselves as an evil group, even though they definitely commit a lot of acts of evil. They view themselves as simply freeing the minds of other Sylvari and opening their eyes to the nightmare. Some members will go about spreading the nightmare in different ways. Some will offer it to others, allowing them to make the choice themselves. And some will force it on others, threatening them with death if they refuse. The Nightmare Court was founded by a second-born, Kadern. In his early life, he witnessed many events that caused him to question Vantari's teachings, and he wondered why the Sylvari follow this philosophy created by a centaur and a human. Kadern was aware of the Elder Dragons, and he thought that if they were ever to defeat them, they would need to use any power available to them. This includes the nightmare. But the Pale Tree seemed to deny the existence of the nightmare, and many other Sylvari didn't seem to be aware of it either. But it was actually something Kaith said to him that would trigger him to create the Nightmare Court. Kadron was always being ignored by the Pale Tree, and then eventually Kaith told him, "You're either firstborn or you're simply just Sylvari." In addition to creating the Nightmare Court, this statement would also fuel his hatred for the firstborn. Kadron would turn many Sylvari to the nightmare, and he would eventually tempt Fallon with talk of the nightmare. Fallon had actually been touched by the nightmare herself, but it wasn't until talking with Kadron that she understood what it was. Now, some Sylvari, namely Fallon, have definitely twisted the intentions of the Nightmare Court over the years. But Kadron's original goal of the court was to simply expose the Pale Tree to the nightmare. This would allow all newly awakened Sylvari to see more of the harsh realities of the world. He thought that if that happened, the Sylvari could move away from Vantari's teachings and create a new philosophy that was unique to Sylvari. Now, over time, Fallon has managed to take over the Nightmare Court, and she is much more cavalier with how she leads them. They seem more like a terrorist group for the Sylvari under her lead. You know, it's unfortunate that Kadern sort of fallen off by the wayside. I always felt like he could have been one of those villain characters that was really well written because he was right. Anyways, that's going to be my brief summary of the Nightmare Court. I hope I covered everything you want to know. Let me know of any other lore topics out there that you'd be interested in learning a bit more about. I hope you enjoyed this video or found it interesting, and if you didn't know about this, now you know.